The world is closing in on Donald Trump, and they're about to make a move. Right now, world leaders are tightening their grip, and this isn't just diplomacy, it's full-scale military action. Troops are flooding into Greenland, a place you wouldn't expect to be at the center of this storm. But here's the twist. These aren't just any troops. These are soldiers from countries like Germany, France, Norway, the United Kingdom, and Sweden. They're landing right now on a runway in Greenland. Why? To prepare for a possible invasion. But here's the real question. Why is this happening now? What's truly at stake here? And it's about to get even more complicated. Stay tuned, because this story is far from over. Now, this isn't just a one-off event. The world is aligning itself against Trump, and this military buildup in Greenland is just a symptom of a much larger problem. These aren't just exercises for show, they're rehearsals for an all-out confrontation. But here's the kicker. The question we need to ask is, why are these nations taking such drastic action? What are they anticipating? Look at the bigger picture. This isn't isolated. It's a series of moves that go beyond Greenland. This is about the balance of power shifting globally. As tensions rise, the question becomes, are we on the brink of something bigger? What happens when the world decides to stand up to a superpower, when they decide to make a statement that could change everything? And it all starts here. But don't jump to conclusions just yet. There's a lot more we're not being told. It's not just military exercises. This is a direct challenge. Leaders aren't just preparing for a possible U.S. invasion. They're anticipating how to stop it. One quote stands out: "We need to make them fear us," says French President Emmanuel Macron. And it's not a casual remark. This is a clear statement of intent, a message aimed directly at Trump. But notice what's missing. This isn't just about military readiness. It's about shaping the narrative, about creating an atmosphere of fear and uncertainty. They're not waiting for something to happen. They're making it happen. And with every strategic move, the pressure builds. This isn't a game anymore. The world is ready to act. But will it be enough to stop the man who's already known for taking risks? And here's where it flips. What if this is the beginning of a new global order, one where the U.S. isn't the dominant player anymore? Things are escalating, and fast. This isn't just about Greenland anymore. It's about the power struggle between superpowers. European leaders like Macron are getting bolder. And it's not just words. They're already making moves. Think about it. Back in 2025, Macron might have been trying to appease Trump to buy time. But by 2026, that strategy has completely flipped. Now, it's clear Europe isn't sitting on the sidelines. They're preparing for war in the form of joint military exercises with countries that were once allies of the U.S. This isn't the first time something like this has happened. Look at history: the Cold War, the Berlin crisis, similar buildups, similar standoffs, and yet somehow this feels different. Why? Because this time, it's not just about military might. This is about the future of global influence. And for the first time in decades, the U.S. might not be the one calling the shots. But here's the real danger. This could spiral out of control. What happens when the world's biggest powers clash over a place like Greenland? The plot thickens, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Just when you think things can't get more intense, they do. Now, we're seeing evidence that the world isn't just preparing for an invasion. They're actively pushing back, and it's not just talk anymore. Look at the contradictions. While Trump pushes for Greenland, countries like Canada are quietly building stronger alliances with China. It's a move that could change the global economic landscape forever. The more we dig, the clearer it becomes. Trump's plans aren't just being opposed, they're being undermined in real time. And then there's this. Trump himself has gone as far as threatening tariffs on any country that doesn't support his push for Greenland. We need Greenland for national security, he says, as if it's a non-negotiable. But here's where it all falls apart. Europe is standing firm. The world isn't backing down. The more Trump doubles down, the more isolated he becomes. But here's the twist. If this continues, it might not just be about Greenland anymore. The entire global order could be on the line. Now, the situation's heating up, and there's no turning back. In the last few hours, multiple developments have unfolded, and they're stacking up fast. First, we have global leaders moving in lockstep, arming themselves not just with weapons, but with new alliances that could outmaneuver Trump at every turn. Meanwhile, Trump's rhetoric is pushing more countries to the edge. The more he threatens tariffs, the more he alienates alienates allies. And then, right on cue, Canadian Prime Minister Carney makes a $1 billion trade deal with China, leaving the U.S. on the outside looking in. But it gets worse. Look at what's happening domestically. The U.S. is growing more divided. While Trump's administration focuses on Greenland, other parts of the world are already moving forward. The U.S. is becoming a bystander in a global race it used to lead. What happens if this continues? The U.S. risks losing its place in the world. And that's just the beginning of a much bigger crisis. This isn't just about global politics anymore. It's about real lives. As this power struggle intensifies, ordinary people are feeling the pressure. You can already see it in how this entire geopolitical battle is trickling down to the streets. While world leaders clash over Greenland, it's the average citizen who's stuck dealing with the consequences. In the U.S., communities are being torn apart by these political moves, and the question remains, how far will it go before it hits you? It's easy to get caught up in the headlines, but take a moment to think about the people who live in these countries. The families, the workers, the children. What happens when a country turns its focus inward, distracted by power struggles, while everyday issues like education, healthcare, and jobs are pushed aside? If this feels familiar, say so in the comments, because it's not just about Trump or Greenland, it's about what this means for all of us, no matter where we live. It's time to look beyond the surface and understand what's really at play here. This isn't just about military standoffs or tariffs. It's about the system that allows this to happen in the first place. There's a mechanism here, one that's built on leverage, fear, and spectacle. It's a cycle that feeds itself. Trump makes bold moves and the world reacts. But what's the underlying force, the system of power that keeps everyone at the table, playing a game where the stakes are only getting higher? What's most unsettling is how easy it is to see this happening again. The same structure, the same responses, and yet we're still blind to it, as if we're just watching a show unfold. But the truth is, this system is what enables a country to focus on Greenland while the rest of the world moves forward. It's what allows the U.S. to act like it's in control when, in reality, it's teetering on the edge of a massive global shift. What if this whole thing is a distraction? What if we're missing the real story because we're too caught up in the drama? The future is uncertain, and there are two paths we could take from here. On one hand, the situation could de-escalate. Trump might shift focus away from Greenland and recalibrate his approach. Maybe he'll find a way to get the support he needs, and Europe might soften its stance, opting for a more diplomatic solution. But the deeper question remains. What will this cost in the long run? If the U.S. keeps pushing, it might start losing credibility, both with its allies and enemies. On the other hand, things could spiral. Countries might take a more aggressive stance, escalating into economic and military conflicts that the U.S. simply can't avoid. The balance of power could shift permanently, and the U.S. might find itself in a position it's never been in before, one where it has to play defense rather than offense. The momentum is already building, but the next move is crucial. What will the U.S. do next? The next few months could decide everything. The bottom line, this could change everything. The world is shifting, and right now, the U.S. is caught in the middle. Greenland might seem like just another political move, but it's bigger than that. It's a signal that the global order is changing, and the U.S. might not be at the top anymore. But here's the kicker. This could be just the beginning. If this strategy fails, or if it escalates further, the U.S. could find itself in a position it never expected. The question is, what will the future look like? We might be about to see a new world order take shape, one where the old power dynamics are no longer in place, and whether the U.S. can adapt or not will determine its place in the world for decades to come. If you want to stay plugged into the real story, hit that subscribe button now. This is just the beginning of a much bigger conversation, and you don't want to miss what's coming next.